Hello, everyone. Let me introduce you to our next guest, Reanna Schultz. And she is talking about growing up insecure journey of getting into cyber. Welcome, Rihanna.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, yeah, just the kind of a quick introduction with what I'll be discussing is growing up insecure and essentially the lessons learned from my journey for those who are trying to break into cyber or just needs a different perspective on a journey in cybersecurity. So, like what was said earlier, my name is Reanna Schultz. I am born, raised, and from Kansas City, Missouri. So if you pay attention to football or anything, the Kansas City Chiefs is literally in my backyard. No, I have not met Taylor Swift, but I hear she's around here frequently. Now, I do have higher education. I did get my bachelor's and undergrad degree in cybersecurity from the University of Central Missouri. I do teach there part-time now, and it's always fun seeing that next generation come in. Now, I should update these slides, but I do have 8 years of cyber experience. I have a very technical background in endpoint security engineering, network security engineering, and now cyber defense with detection engineering and SOC work. So I guess I am a jack of all trades. And besides my love and passion for what I do during the day, I do have a lot of passion projects. I love playing chess and reading books. I grew up reading Nancy Drew, which is what I blame for a lot of my sleuthing that I do have in my day to day career with analysis and incident response. I do have a podcast called Defenders and Lab Coats. It's where I dive into different cyber breaches and I also bring on different community guests as well to talk about their journey. And I do love community outreach, like stuff like this. I really enjoy putting myself out there. So hopefully someone can connect with someone in the field. And then also, if you guys have any questions, right, it's nice to put a face to a name. Now, I always tell people, please connect with me on LinkedIn. I will have QR codes throughout the presentation. No, they are not malicious. I always get that comment, but scan them, connect, and it's also resources I do provide as well. Now, a few takeaways. I am going to be discussing about my journey, again, the lessons learned, and then also some free things that you guys can take into your classroom. And classroom is a broad term I like to use throughout this presentation. This can be a classroom as in a mentor teaching someone in their day to day. This can be a physical classroom. This can be a virtual classroom or essentially things that you guys can teach in your own. Maybe your home office is your classroom. This is our place of learning. And I want to make sure you guys have resources to be set up for success. Now, I grew up in a very, very small town. For those who are not from the United States, that's okay. I grew up in a town called Odessa, Missouri. It's very rural. I always say there's more cows than people in this town. And I was very involved in a farming culture. I was part of FFA, which is Femur Farmers Association, 4-H, and I was very big into trap shooting. I never got into hunting. I just liked firearms. So I still do shooting for a fun activity here and there. So, it's really fun. Something about patience and just really zoning in and just adjusting. And of course, because I grew up in a rural area, I also had a lot of chickens. And so you'll see chickens throughout my presentations. I do not have chickens now. My HOA would be very not happy about chickens, but I do love them. They are really fun animals and they just all have their own personalities. I as I was kind of going through high school, I did get involved in some activities outside of the farming community. I was really big into color guard. If you do not know what that is, think of it as dance, and you get a flag and swords and a wooden rifle, and you spin it. If you watch the movie Cadet Kelly, there is her intro essentially to what it is. I was also really big into music. I really enjoyed playing the oboe. I played it for almost a decade. I did not go professional with it. I actually gave my oboe to a local school now, so someone else can have the gift of music. Now, if you are curious to what I looked like in high school, and these are going to be some embarrassing photos, but you know what? Hey, we're here, and hopefully people can feel better about having their photos from high school on the internet somewhere. So this was actually me in color guard. This was my senior year, so I was 17, 17-ish in this photo. Do not ask me what the costumes are. I do not really remember. But what I can tell you is that it was hot. The Midwest gets very hot and humid, and those costumes were very hot and humid for halftime shows. And also, here's some embarrassing photos of me in high school. This was on my Instagram. My Instagram is no longer out there, but if it is, let me know because I need to take it down. Like I said, I grew up rural, small town, and we were cool if you had a tractor. So this was a tractor that I did drive around my family's farm. And then the photo on the other side of the tractor, this was me getting ready for homecoming. So Sonic is very, I would say, the cool kid thing. My phone was duct taped, that was just the thing in 2012, 2013. So yeah, do what you want with that. It's out there for you all now in public. So my education, because I grew up in a small town, a lot of farming communities, they or even small school districts here in the States, sometimes they don't get a lot of budget and finance because the taxes aren't as expensive. And so the schools are impacted by SOSA taxes. And with that being said, I would consider it wasn't super great like a private school education, but it was okay. I was able to read, write, have the basic foundations to be set up for success. My graduating class was pretty small. I had about 100 kids in my graduating class. There were other schools, or I would say towns in the areas that would bus their kids to my school. So I had a lot of I would say peers in other towns as well, just because their towns were so small that they couldn't have a public school. So they went to my school. And out of this, I kind of want to show some cool photos that we have here. I feel like every small town has like oh, you need to see this. So if you're ever going through Missouri, there is this creamery called Odessa Creamery, and it's the nostalgic small town staple. It's really, really cute. It has like an old diner vibe, and just it's a very hometown feeling. This is actually one of the schools I attended, and I have generational family in this town. So I have two generations that actually attended this school. The school's 100 years old. And after I left that school, they condemned it for all future students because of the mold. And who knows, maybe the mold was good for me. I don't know. But I also want to point out this tiny building in the background. That's where we would eat lunch. So we would have to walk out of these front doors around the building to eat lunch there. And it felt like Little House of the Prairie during the winters where we're all bundled up in our coats, going to go eat chicken patties and hot dogs for lunch to walk back in the building. Yeah, no, it was a very nostalgic time. Obviously, the kids in the town today don't go to school there. And the building we used to have lunch in is now that town's police station. So I guess it's still in use, but yeah, not for education.